The Dead Lucky, issue number 1 from Image Comics. So this is set in the Massive Verse, the same universe as Radiant Black, the Radiant Red miniseries, obviously, Infernal Girl Red, whatever that series was called, and Rogue Sun. So this is a new addition to the Massive Verse. They all share the same universe. I will say that the Massive Verse needs a lot of help. You can disagree with me on this. In my opinion, the Massiverse has been off to really terrible, rocky starts. Radiant Red was just a complete disaster. Not even worth the effort to read it. It's just terrible all around. Infernal Red Dragon, Infernal Girl Red, whatever that series is called, hasn't even come out yet. I don't think. I think it's still up on Kickstarter. Rogue Sun has been pretty bad as well. In my opinion, I haven't cared for it. I do think that the last issue was a step in the right direction, but it's still pretty subpar in my opinion. And Radiant Black is average at best. Radiant Black has some good moments, and it has some terrible moments, and it has a lot of boring moments in between. So, I've kind of rambled on the Massiverse. Does Dead Lucky help improve the Massiverse at all? Well, let's get into it. So we start off with our main character. Our main character's name is Bibiana. I'm just going to call her Bibi. And Bibi is a soldier who came back from the war. What war is that? I don't know, because this takes place in the future, I would say. There's like a cyberpunkish theme to it, but not that extreme. It's just more of like a near future kind of stuff. Picture RoboCop. That's kind of what we're getting here. That's the vibe I'm getting anyways. But yeah, she's come back from the war. She has some kind of trauma, probably survivor's guilt, PTSD, a bit of identity disassociation, in the sense that she's not really a soldier, but she's not a civilian either. Like she doesn't feel like she really belongs. Like she feels disassociated from her world now that she's back. And yeah, she's talking to her therapist, who's doing a really poor job, I would say. And Bibi has this quirk where she monologues out loud. So remember that gag that was on Family Guy? It was like an old episode where Peter is basically narrating his life, but he's saying it out loud, and other people can hear him, and they're just like, "What the hell is he doing?" That's basically what Bibi does. Like she says, I grew up in San Francisco. It used to be special, pulsing with soul, a safe haven for those searching for an identity. And she's saying this out loud. Like every time when we get like what should be a thought bubble or something, she's just saying it out loud. I also find it funny that she said San Francisco used to be special. As someone who lives near San Francisco is a hellhole. It sucks. San Francisco is terrible. Homeless everywhere, drug needles all over the place, people pooping on the streets. There's literally an app that you download to tell you, like, to help you maneuver around so you're not walking in human filth. But yeah, we see Bibi walking around. We see, a bit of the city. We see homelessness. We see a group called the Morrow. And the Morrow seems to be like the police force in a sense. They're supposed to kind of keep things under control. But there's another group called the Salvation Gang that just go around and just destroy things. They're not really, a salvation for anybody. They're just a gang that just goes around and destroys buildings and people's livelihoods and stuff. But Bibi's parents, she's a mixed race. Her dad looks Asian. Her mom looks possibly Hispanic. I don't know. But they own this restaurant, and they have a Morrow person who's basically telling the parents that you should move out. Like, you should move out of the restaurant, move away. The Morrow's only going to be here for a little while longer, and once we're gone, there's not going to be anyone here to protect you. So we will help you locate somewhere else, but you should do that soon. And the parents don't want to, because this is their home. This is their restaurant that they've owned for years. And yeah, we just see more robots walking the street. This is why I said it reminds me of RoboCop, because it's actually, it's pretty much almost straight up RoboCop. We have robots walking around. We have a really terrible city that's kind of fallen to gangs and stuff like that. we see Bibi and she goes to talk to her ex. And again, we have a moment where she's like, Eddie's mixed like me. He was my best friend, then my prom date, then my first. Before, no idea what we are now. And Eddie's like, are you talking to yourself again, or was that just for me? She's like, oh, I'm just talking to myself. So that's how it is. Like she literally tells like personal information out loud, and it's just weird. And I mean, everyone mentions that it's weird, but yeah, I don't know how it's weird. Also in the sense that like this is not a comedy. This is not supposed to be a lighthearted series. I mean, we're following a character who suffers from survivor's guilt and PTSD and stuff like that. But her quirk is just laughable because it's just so over the top. Like she's literally narrating her life and her feelings and her thoughts and stuff out loud for everyone to hear, and everyone just kind of looks at her like, "What the hell are you doing?" But Eddie has built this giant robot, and Bibi has some kind of electrical power, and she uses it to charge up the robot. And basically, their plan is that they will take care of the streets themselves. They don't need the Morrow to help them. Once the Morrow leave, they will use this robot to watch over the streets and take out the Salvation Gang. And the Salvation Gang eventually attacks the city after all the robots get pulled out, and then Bibi shows up in her robot and her tokusatsu suit inside the robots. So yeah, she's piloting this mech. So yeah, we have a short fight scene where no one gets hurt. People get electrocuted, and she smashes the ground, knocking people up and down to the floor and stuff. But nothing happens to any of the gang members. Eventually, she comes out of her suit and blasts electricity, and everybody runs away. And then Eddie runs up to her and touches her and gets zapped and passes out and has to be taken to the hospital. And I'm going to skip pages. But yeah, there's more. I'm not going to get into it. I will say that it's interesting. The artwork is okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's fine. Coloring is fine too. Coloring is pretty unique. The colors that they use, it has like its own style. It does remind me very much of like the Radiant Black coloring, the way that series is drawn. I will say that it's weird to have another series in this universe, this massive verse, but it takes place in the future. I don't know. It feels like the only thing connecting any of these characters or series together is the fact that it's tokusatsu inspired. But other than that, that's it. It doesn't feel like the MCU where the characters are all on the same planet at the same time, or like, you know, you have Peter Quill going on his space adventures, but if he were to come back to Earth, he would be able to meet up with, you know, Iron Man and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and all them. I'm assuming if Bibi were to go to New Orleans, which is where Rogue Sun takes place, even though Rogue Sun never mentions anything about New Orleans and it could take place anywhere. Yeah, I'm going to stop right there because I can go on a huge rant about that. But yeah, if they were to show up to New Orleans, I highly doubt that she would be able to meet up with Rogue Sun. If she were to show up at, where the hell does Radiant Black take place? I can't even remember. But wherever Marshall and Nathan is, I highly doubt she'll be able to meet them. It's like, I think she's like in the future. I don't know. To me, it's just weird to have a shared universe, but nothing. It's not really shared. Like it's just basically a similar theme. So it would be like if you had Persona, Final Fantasy, and Dragon Quest and the Tales of series have the same shared universe, but nothing is the same. It's just the only thing that they share is that they're JRPGs. That's kind of what the Massiverse feels like. So, yeah, does the Dead Lucky help the Massiverse? No. I would say no, unfortunately. And it sucks. I really want the Massiverse to do good. I want it to be good because I love Tokusatsu, Kamen Rider, Garu, Super Sentai, Power Rangers, even the old school Ultraman, even some of the old school stuff, Redman, the Metal Heroes, Space Sheriff. Like I love those series, and I love that they seem to be making a return, at least when it comes to the West. I'm seeing like a lot of comics and stuff kind of adapting some of that. And I want more, and I want them to be good. Because obviously I want to read good stories about a genre that I love. But I'm just not getting that with the Massiverse. At best, the Massiverse is okay. At worst, it's just a boring mess. I won't say this series is a boring mess. I'll say this series is average at best. I don't know. I need to get like another issue to see where it's going. I will say that this issue didn't woo me. It didn't really do much for me. I'm not all that invested in the character of Bibi, which is kind of a shame because she seems like she could be an interesting character. Here's character back from a war, suffering from survivor's guilt and PTSD, trying to be a hero when she can't even fix her own life. Like, that sounds like the makings of a really interesting character, and yet the execution just doesn't work with me right now. But again, this is just the first issue. Maybe the second issue would be a lot better. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was what it is. It's a comic. That's how I feel. I don't know. You tell me what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you love the Massiverse? Or are you like me, where you want to love it, but it's just not clicking at the moment? Maybe I should just stick to manga and the Japanese tokusatsu, like TV series, and I don't know. It's just the only tokusatsu series that like really just gripped me, and it's just like, oh my god, this is amazing, has been Ultra Mega. Ultra Mega just freaking nailed it. That I can't talk enough about how great that series was, and I'm looking forward to part 2. That series really nailed the tokusatsu genre. I loved it. I loved the characters, loved the artwork. Everything about it was great. I can't talk enough about how awesome it was. This stuff is not doing it for me, but fingers crossed it gets better. There you go. I'm just kind of rambling now at this point. The Dead Lucky, issue number 1 from Image Comics. It's me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell for a notification, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlist that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.